Hey everybody, I'm Captain Tommy Scoble, and you are on the lifeboat. Welcome back, everybody. Boy, oh boy, it was a long trip. I can't tell you how happy I am to be sitting back at the helm of the lifeboat. If you just got here, I don't know where you've been, but I have been on a road trip doing some business of the boat, and sorry, I was trying to get the top has stuck on my M Hunt. Good to see you. Hey, you know what, M Hunt? I'm glad that you're busy with good things in your life. Good stuff, man. Honestly. So, if you're brand new to the lifeboat and you just picked this up in the last couple of days and you go, what the heck does this guy do? What we do is we are a channel that talks about sobriety. We talk about the fact that the opposite of addiction is connection. And what really has turned out to be incredible is how many other things are combated by connection. One of the things that we've noticed big time since starting to work with other people who have trauma from their past. Hello, Gregory. Hello, Kelly C. Good to see you from the UK. Yeah, the give you a little bit of the idea of the road tripping. So I was in Las Vegas and drove to Los Angeles after the filming that I had been doing to catch the protest over at the Scientology building. Normally, we are not technically a Scientology or anti-Scientology channel. That said, we're no fans of Scientology and the things that it has done to people, and in so many ways, it is so similar to addiction that since we started bringing people over from the lifeboat, a lot of people that have found the channel have talked about how there's a family vibe. There's kind of a connection on the lifeboat that makes this channel unique. And in all honesty, hello, Scooby. Good to see you, man. Well, Scoob, hang in there, please. Good morning, Bizzle. Glad that you're here. So after, well, Scoob, it's not a matter of you being a failure, and I think deep down you know that. We're very often we find ourselves in a position where the deck is stacked against us, and sadly, when you're struggling with addiction or you're struggling with any kind of mental illness, because make no mistake, addiction is a mental illness. If I had enough time, people, I was at 1 o'clock in the morning, I was still driving here. So if I had time to make a thumbnail and to mess around with it, hold on 1 second. Gregory, awesome, thank you, appreciate that. It was an honor to be there. What we normally talk about, people, here on the lifeboat between 5 a.m. right and 5 p.m. we go live on the fives, and what we do is we have a connection meeting. It's really what it is. And for the vast majority of people on the lifeboat, it is because we struggle with the disease of addiction. You forgot to mention that last week was 6 months without even looking at a drink. The longest I've gone since I was 12 years old. How good is that? How good is that? M. Hunt, my brother. 6 months, M. Hunt. Man, oh man, could not be any more proud of that, my brother. True story. M. Hunt is one of the... M. Hunt has been on the boat a really long time, and there was a period of time in the beginning where he struggled like everyone else that has ever gotten sober off of anything. LeBron, good to see you. Happy you're here, man. Always an honor. Hold on 1 second. Please talk with Johnny when you can and let him know I sent you. Will do. Joe, the Jester of Death 83. Welcome to the Lifeboat. I think Joe, the Jester of Death is a name I probably would have remembered. So welcome to the boat. At the fives, we go live at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. on the Lifeboat, and we talk about subject matter that deals with addiction traditionally. Now, that doesn't always necessarily just mean drugs, right? There are so many different things that that fall under that heading. And sorry, you know what? Seventh happens to the best of us. The one of the things about and I know there are people that struggle with this because I did for a really long time. I when you do what I do, you don't want to spend too much time saying, well, it's part of, um, oh, there you go, Joe 83. And that is a solid Hollywood name. I mean, a Halloween name. That's Jester of Death 83. It does have that Halloween ring to it. So when I'm not on the fives and I'm not doing official lifeboat business, then what I do is mine. And one of the things that I have become closely associated with is the fight against the Church of Scientology. And for me, it's pretty cut and dry that it's so similar in so many ways to what we're fighting with the drug addiction that it is a logical progression. Honestly, it is. The one of the things that we've seen more of in the last 4 months is what kind of things connection can fix other than drug addiction. And it's an amazing thing when you start to work with individuals who have come by their trauma in unusual ways. Because I promise you that coming by trauma through the Church of Scientology is an unusual way. And if you've never been here before, this is the first time you've heard me talk about this. The Church of Scientology is an evil organization that separates families and does everything within their power to destroy lives. And they sadly charge people ludicrous amounts of money for them to destroy their own lives. And we've been really blessed to meet a lot of people that have escaped from this cult. And they've done it through connection. Truthfully. Kelly C says the cult of Scientology, nowhere near a church. I stand corrected. I stand corrected because you're absolutely right. They're not a church. It's a horse crap designation. Hello, Shimmy, that they were able to pull off for tax reasons. And honestly, they were able to turn it to make that happen because they spent a lot of time harassing the Internal Revenue Service, and an entire team of people going after them until they tapped out and gave them tax exempt status. And boy, can you stack money if you're not paying the government anything, right? You really can build a war chest. And sadly, that's just what they used it for. That war chest is used as a war chest, and it is used to destroy the lives of people that stand up and say things about these evil sons of bitches that run the whole Scientology thing. So it's one of those situations that we find ourselves in a synergy of sorts with people. Come on, squirrel. Oh, you have been missed. People have been talking about you. She's back. Do you think Scientology will ever get shut down, or is it going to be a never-ending thing? Tim, it's an excellent question. And you know what? Here's the answer to that. If you had asked me that question 3 or 4 months ago, I would have said something along the lines of, I think there's an excellent chance that this will probably happen in my lifetime. I do think that because this has been the ultimate leveling of the playing field. This whole social media thing has been a real blow to secretive organizations that build their lives off of that build their success off of destroying people's lives. The internet has made that a difficult thing to do in the shadow. Thank you, CK. It's good to be back. They've made it a lot more difficult for them to do what they do. Now, the reason that I say I would have said that 6 months ago is because now I don't feel like my mission in life should be to shut down the Church of Scientology. That's not my mission in life. I promise you. I would love to see them go out of business. I don't know that will happen in our lifetime. And more importantly, I would like to see the people that are trapped in this have an ability to get out and have an ability to talk to other people who get it, who understand what's going on. Russ, it's been years, Russ. It's been years. Gregory says, Captain, do you have any advice for those addicted to prescription medication? It's easier to get and harder to stop. The thing with the prescription medication is it's really easy to get in the beginning. For most people who become addicted to pain medication, there's just not enough that a doctor can give you. Most people who get addicted to pain medication build a tolerance and do it quickly enough that even if you're getting a prescription from a doctor and they're giving you 100 of these a month, you're going to eat 110 or 120. And that's the nature of the addiction of opiates, especially. But when you're addicted to prescription medication, in the beginning, it definitely seems like it's way easier to get. You drive to your pharmacy, you pick the stuff up. But I have been addicted to that route. I've gone that route multiple times in my life, and there's never enough. I used to get prescriptions for 12 OxyContin 80s a day. 12 80s a day from a pharmacy, and I was still doing more dope on top of it. I thought honestly it was prescription, like every other addiction, right? Whether you're addicted to street drugs, whether you're addicted to drugs you're getting from a pharmacy, the mechanism of addiction is always exactly the same. It really is. It doesn't. The circumstances change because you hear stories from so many diverse backgrounds of people who end up addicted to drugs, but the story itself never changes. Never changes. There's not enough dope in the world to take care of your habit. And no matter how you get it, it's not good enough, right? Or it's going to require you to steal more money or make more money, or it's going to require you to go to the street because doctors aren't going to give you what you need, rather. The live felt like a field trip for the people on the lifeboat. It was great to see. Thank you, Demon. The second part of that, when we went over to the Church of Scientology, the first part was frustrating because I can't take you with me on it. There's just nothing I can do to tell you guys what I'm doing. What I can tell you is that when it comes out, it will be the biggest thing that ever happened to the lifeboat. I mean, by a landslide. It's not going to be close. And I know that there are people that really struggle when I'm not here every 5 minutes telling you exactly what's going on in my head and what the plans are. And I'd love to be able to do that, but it's not possible if you have a keep your mouth shut agreement with the people that you're working with. And I most assuredly have that right now. Russ, I will reach out to you this afternoon, and I would love to get you on to do that, exactly that. Balake says 42 of us and 24 likes. Come on, crew, we can do a lot better. Well, the crew's a little bent at me. This happens when you go on the road, Balake. Even if what you're doing is lifeboat related, I'll be honest. I got a bunch of ugly emails from people. It is what it is. There's going to be people that don't see the direction that I am taking the boat. It's always going to be that way. It is always going to be that way. And you know what? To all of you, I love you. I really do. I love you. I wish that I could take the boat in 14 directions at the same time and make all of you happy. That's not going to happen. So I'm going to take it in the direction that myself and my partner Q talk about. And if we come to agreements on that, then most assuredly that is the direction that we will be taking the lifeboat. The beautiful thing about what happened over the course of me filming. And I can't get into great details with this, but what I can tell you is that I was blessed in that a lot of what we talked about was prison reform, very specifically my partner. And I would drive the same length of time to do it again right now. I don't have any sleep, but I would get back in the car and I would do it all over again because it benefits the boat in a massive way. And me, honestly, benefits me in a massive way too. This is good for me. Gregory Smith says, I went for blood test last week and I was told it's damaged my kidneys. It's quite a shock to hear. And that news scared the crap out of me. Gregory, I believe that. It's, I've gone through many times in my life where you get that kind of news, and I got news for you. If any of us are still in the life, this news gets worse every single time you go to see a doctor. I got news for you. That's just how it happens. Every format changes, says CK. It's true. Every format does change. Now, I don't want to. I don't necessarily want to change the format of the boat. At 5 and 5, we're going to do what we do. What I do between those times is my business. And hopefully some of you will dig watching it. But the 5s are about sobriety. They're going to remain about sobriety. I wouldn't want it to change. But we're going to see a lot of people who come by because connection is the cure for so much. We're never going to snob out and say, well, that person's not a drug addict or that person's not a this, because the first time that happens, I'm going to lose my feces in a way that is going to scare the hell out of anybody that says it. Right? Because honestly, everything is a friggin' symptom. And if you've been on the boat for any length of time, then you've heard me talk about this ad nauseum. But if you're doing cocaine and snorting lines every single day, that's not your problem. I know it sure as hell feels like your problem, but your problem, right, is addiction, or your problem is trauma, or your problem is something that happened to you in your past that you cannot live comfortably in your own skin because of. That really is what happens. Cocaine is the symptom. Alcohol is the symptom. Whatever drug you're doing, that drug is a symptom of your problem, but it's not your problem, right? We all do drugs and alcohol for very specific reasons, and it's to take something away, right? The drug gives nothing to you, but it will take away. It'll take away fear. It'll take away anguish. It'll take away whatever. And it does this for people who don't have problems with drugs, right? Or don't have addiction problems necessarily, but people whose trauma is so bad from the past that they're going to figure out a way to cope with that. And for a lot of people, they self-medicate, right? It becomes booze. It becomes drugs. There is a group of people that are going to mean there are a group of people that are always going to be the lifeboat to me. They were here before anybody got here, and they stuck around when no one else was here. And you know what? When you do a live stream and there's 150 people on it, it's fun. It really is. When you do a live stream and there's 6, and you got to do 2 of those a day for 6 or 7 months, those 6 people are the reason there's a lifeboat, right? Because they continued to show up, and they continued to show up, and they continued to show up. And I love them. And those original crew members mean the world to me. And I know that there are times that those original crew members look at what's going on and question the direction that the boat's going. And it's going to happen. It's always going to happen. When you spend so much time with people, there is an ownership of the boat that other people assume. And that wouldn't be the boat if that didn't happen. This is a great question. Do you think that the Church of Scientology tries purposefully to ruin lives, or it's their con to make money? Okay, well, either way, they need to go away. Correct. I agree with you. Either way, they need to go away. And here's the answer to that, in my humble opinion, Zelda. Here's what's happening. I think that It originally started out as a con and a way to make money. This is a guy that started a religion because he saw the tax benefits of it. He didn't think it was a church. He bragged about the fact that it wasn't a church and it wasn't a religion until it had to be because they could get tax exempt status. The destruction of lives is because anytime you let something like this run wild, it's going to continue to feed off of itself. And you put a little megalomaniac, sawed off, not very tall person, and give him total control. This is what happens when you get an organization or one person that has this kind of control. The destruction of lives now has become a systematic thing that they do. It just goes back to the fact that the dirtbag that started this religion put so much effort into it, you can't imagine. If you've never done a deep dive on this stuff, then it's going to seem, but there's nothing on planet Earth. If you happen to be somebody that has fallen into that cult, there's nothing on Earth that he didn't tell you how to do, right? Oh, you want to know how to do your laundry right? I promise you, Lafayette took the time to tell you how a Scientologist ought to do laundry, right? Lafayette took time to tell you how a Scientologist ought to do everything. And there was a science fiction writer who created a religion that isn't a religion. But I think that they destroy lives systematically. I think they do it intentionally, 100%. There are organizations within that BS church, because it's not a church, they're right. But inside that cult are organizations that are basically the Stasi, that they go around and follow people and terrify people and do really messed up stuff. And this is not speculation, by the way. This has been proven out so many times. And yeah, that squirrel chewing at my thumb. So good to be back. You little snot. But yeah, absolutely 100%. What they're doing is systematic. And sadly, it's no different than addiction in any way. And I know that so often it's easy to look at people who end up in a cult and you go, there's no way in hell that could ever happen to me. Well, of course not, right? If you look at Jonestown and you see all of the people laying on the ground near buckets of Kool-Aid, you go, that would never happen to me. Well, of course not. If you come walking up on everybody going, are you ready to take a shot of Kool-Aid? You'd be like, no, I'm good. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But if you had been there from the very inception and you had been systematically broken down, and it is what they do. If you were at the protest or watched any of that yesterday, you watched me walk around that building and there were things that said free acting courses or how to get an agent. Obviously, the cult of Hollywood is a huge part of this fake religion, this cult. And that building I was at is called the Celebrity Center. And what that building does is celebrate celebrity. All of these people that signed that billion-year contract, they're not out getting all of the auditing that they can get for their billion-year contract so that they can climb that bridge to BS. It's not what's happening. They're slave labor to work for short people like Tom, right? Or Travolta or anybody else. They need something done, grab a couple of Sea Org members because they're slaves for the super elite within the church. And that's really what's happening. And when the people get there, these are courses on communication. Raise your hand if you don't need to communicate better, right? I do. And they don't say, hey, come in here. We got these cans we want you to hold on to, and we're going to talk to you about stuff while this meter moves. It's not how it goes down. It is a systematic method. And by the time that people are working their way through this, I mean, they start out with things that are so innocuous and things that really do make sense. Most people who take that course in communication talk about the benefits that they get from it. The first courses aren't, hey, let's drink some Kool-Aid, right? Just like that first line. Wasn't a bad thing, was it? First line of cocaine was fantastic. It was the greatest thing ever, right? Until it wasn't. About 15 minutes after you did it, you realized that you needed another one and another one and another one and another one. And you just keep doing that until you're broke. There's a lot of people on this boat who snorted coke who know exactly what I'm talking about. Nothing's going to stop you. You're going to spend every penny you got until it's gone, right? Now, some of us don't start sniffing again when the sun comes up. But there are some people that have to go back and get the next batch. And this cult is no different. They sell. They sell their way through this cult, through this fake religion. You buy your way through, and there are people mortgaging their houses to go get more auditing. It's a really euphemistic term, but auditing. You're right, Kelly C. It really is. It's insidious, and sadly, nobody wants to hear about it. I mean, in all honesty, they don't. This is it's. You're right, Cheryl. It is. It's sad, and there is the part. Here's one a great rule of thumb. Here's a good rule of thumb. If anybody that you're dealing with on any level, for any reason, thinks that you should never speak to one of your loved ones ever again, you need to run like hell, right? You need to run like hell. And again, if the day you join a cult, they say to you, listen, here's a list of all the family members you're never going to speak to again. You'd be like, have a nice day, right? Not. But if over the course of 7 or 8 years, they make you believe that your salvation comes from holding on to these cans, right? And watching that needle float, or jump or skip or whatever else it's doing. Tommy, Clyde 1, grab a leash until you say cat in the basket. Well, I won't say it just yet. And today, people, this is going to be a little bit shorter than my normal 1 hour show. And the reason for that is at 1 a.m. I was still driving home and then needed to unload and do all of the things. And I am absolutely exhausted. It was a long trip. Sandra, I'm sorry to hear that. Fell and hit your head. Sorry, hold on 1 second. I'm afraid for the calendar. It says days are numbered. Balake been hanging out with Seventh far too long. Don't make me Jack Black's work. Hit the like button. Yeah, don't mess with him. That's funny. Did you see this? I was watching several of the lives from LA at the same time. Close to 1 a.m., I got a message from my neighbor asking what the heck I was doing. I just answered I was protesting in LA. Wow. All over the world, there were a lot of people yesterday protesting from LA. It was by the way, so yesterday when I was going live and I said, I would like to be able to go and say hi to these people without putting them on camera. Good Lord, squirrel. The Jane Does were at the protest, which takes huge guts, right? To in many ways, it's returning to the scene of the crime more than just being at that building. The restaurant across the street is probably the place where more pills ended up in drinks without people knowing it than any other place in the city. And they actually closed for the event yesterday and just had a couple of people out there mad mugging the Jane Does until the protest was over, and then they reopened the restaurant. So class act, that whole crew. But so yeah, I killed the camera to go and say hello to the Jane Does. Am I still banned from saying nothing? I don't think you're banned from saying anything, my friend. Borderline what? I didn't ban you. Appears not. No, I think you're good. Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but it looks like it's been fixed. So welcome back. If you were unable to leave comments, I'm glad that you can now. Kelly, you know what? I was really happy to see them as well. I'll be honest. Seeing them at the rally was, I don't know. I just felt like it was scary to me because it's one of those outdoor venues. And when you go to one of these things, about half of the people there aren't what they look like. There was a lot of people with press credentials that weren't willing to give you their names, and just a lot of really weird things that squirrel do not eat that. That gave you the it was just it was courageous as hell for them to be out there, but a bit nerve wracking as well. And you don't want to get them on camera for obvious reasons, especially when two of them are standing next to each other. You don't want to get them on camera, but and everybody there is live streaming. So I was trying to stay aware of where everybody was, and I didn't want to accidentally film somebody. It was the last thing in the world I wanted to do, and I really wanted to have an opportunity to say hi, and I did. I got an opportunity to hang out and talk with them, and which is always cool. They're really, really incredible people, as are their families. The husbands of the Jane Does were also just two amazing people, and have been through more than anybody in the world should ever have to go through at the hands of a religion, a cult, just all kinds of messed up. Okay, Russ, thanks, man. I will be reaching out to you today, Russ. Her 9th birthday. Happy birthday to your daughter. 9 years. Wow, what a great age, a great time. That's awesome. Happy birthday. Kelly C, you're 100% correct. And they they struggle hearing that. Honestly, they seem super uncomfortable when people say that they're heroes, but I'm telling you, just to go out there and protest is frightening. That building, the people that are around it, everything that has anything to do with that creepy establishment, it's frightening. There's no two ways about it. And for that reason, there are people that. Hold on one second. 4 weeks off the pain meds. Got his life back. Borderline. 4 weeks without pain medication is an eternity when you've been addicted to it. Congratulations, man. That is an eternity. Good for you, man. You are really past the ugly parts of this. If you're at the 4 week mark, my friend, please take time. Do the things that we talk about all the time on the Lifeboat. Journal. Get up in the morning and dump everything that you have in your head, from your dream state, from all of the things that were happening while you were just laying in bed, and all of that was getting worked out in your subconscious. Dump all that. Get it out and put it into a notebook. Clean up your room a little bit, huh? Make your bed. Don't have things on the floor. Don't have your life be a reminder every minute that you're living in an active addiction. Have it be a reminder that you stopped active addiction. Making the bed is a declaration, right? I'm not the guy that didn't make the bed. It's just a way to separate yourself from the person that you used to be. I hope that makes sense, because if it doesn't, it's going to be a struggle for you. Borderline, you did that, my friend, but thank you. That's a really kind thing to say. They wouldn't let Alexa use her megaphone. The girls are right. She is Jason. She is the most energetic person I've ever met in my life. She's one of those people that, from the time that I've never seen Laura when she wasn't Laura. She is a larger than life personality at all times. She's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's who she is. Seventh, sometimes that happens by accident. I could have done it too. It's really it's one of those things that happens. It may not have been you. Borderline says, I've cried so much in the last few weeks. I'm not laughing at you, by the way, but I've been there. I've cried so much in the last few weeks. The emotions coming back was intense. This is something that a lot of people talk about. Interesting. Interesting, Gregory. Gregory says, what resonated with me, Captain, is that you still feel nervous or during the protest about police being close by. It reminded me of triggers for addicts. When I came up from the parking lot when we first started filming, and I came around the corner, and there was like maybe 11 police cars there. There were just a ton of police. And I didn't realize at the time I would have reported on it better. But what happened was when the protests first started, someone said that they saw the silhouette of a one of those things in the outline of somebody's pants. And the police got called because there was a concealed weapon was the reason for them being called. And the guy had paperwork for it, and everything was good. He was allowed to have it, but there were so many cops that showed up because the call they got said there's somebody at the protest with a weapon, and so that got it was just flooded. And you know what? I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not, but they were not the friendliest crew. And, again, it gets you kind of wondering every time something like that happens, like when the police show up and they seem to sort of be on the side of the other team, you start thinking to yourself, who's in on it, right? Who's part of it? And that, that kind of organization and that kind of church, this is something that happens all of the time. When you've got an organization that literally goes after people, then when they're not going after people, they can cause you to be looking over your shoulder constantly, one way or the other. And that's, I think, one of their weapons is the intimidation factor that the people that have been in for a really long time are going to torture themselves, whether they're being followed or not, because they spend most of their life under that kind of torture. And it requires a specific and special kind of connection to help those individuals. And all of you, whether you realize it or not, have become that for a lot of people. And one of the reasons that I think that this works is because drug addicts tend to not be very judgmental. So even if in the beginning your first thought is, man, I'd never end up in a cult, around the time that you realize that doesn't really matter how they ended up there. They're just one more person who needs to quit something that has an unbelievable hold on their life. And just as importantly, if not more importantly, is that after you quit something that has that kind of a hold on your life, you're going to need a freaking bunch of help. Plain and simple. Whether what you quit was snorting powder or holding those two stupid little cans on an e-meter, it's the exact same thing. It really is. And we're never going to pick and choose trauma here. We're never going to say a heroin addict is a strong enough addiction, right? But if you're just smoking weed, you don't need to be here, right? If you're just drinking some beers, or if you're struggling with the fear of leaving your home, we have people on the lifeboat right now, several, who are agoraphobic, and that's trauma. Do you care how they got there? I don't. Hello, full of hope. Good to see you, and I'm glad that you're here. No problem. No problem at all. I love the pound symbol over the dollar symbol. There's something about seeing the sterling that is, I don't know. I kind of feel like we're not going to be seeing a dollar sign too much longer anyway. It's I won't turn this into a political show, but I just sort of get the feeling that the dollar's not going to be around a lot longer. That's just my opinion. Hey, I got the top off of my maple syrup. The sugar content makes it so that if you put a top on these things, they tend to get really sticky. Crying cleanses the soul, says Seven. Boy, there's a lot of truth to that. Balake, you really are spending way too much time around Seven. Who says, why do fathers bring extra pairs of socks while playing golf? In case they get a hole in one. Ooh. Love you, Blockhead. It's horrible. Even by Seven's son. Hold on. I've always really liked the expression, tears are the telescopes through which we view God. I know not all of you are huge fans of God. I'm a pretty big fan of God and the God concept. So for me, I've always liked that. They're the telescopes through which we view God. Kathy, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Hey, JJ. Glad that you're here. So now that I'm back home, I'm going to get back to resuming my normal scheduled broadcasting. So that means to all of you that go over and watch the other platform to see me talk about my beliefs, I will be doing that again today at 3:00 over on the other platform. Not trying to drag anyone over there that doesn't want to hear what I believe. Because very often hearing what somebody believes, especially if it's something spiritually, what they believe, will make you dislike that person, which is kind of sad, right? But it does happen. So if you like me, maybe don't show up. If my religious views are going to taint how you view me, then just don't come by. We can do what we do here. It's no problem. A couple more pounds for the lifeboat. Thank you, Kelly C. Thank you. It's just a way cooler symbol. I don't think there's a tremendous amount of romance to the dollar, but there's something about 5 pounds and 10-pound notes and the fact that they used to actually take what do they call those pins that go underneath things, and safety pins. They used to safety pin 5 pound and 10-pound notes to jackets and cloth. I read this fascinating story about during World War II, there were people that had been captured that they were forcing to counterfeit money. It was a fascinating film, but they were forcing these people to counterfeit cash while they were locked up, and the bills that they were able to come up with. But they were trying to age the pound notes because so many people would literally wear them. It was fascinating. Thank you, Borderline. What? Thank you, my friend. It's greatly appreciated. Truly. Seventh son, do not steal full of hopes. Don't take the words right out of her mouth. I don't know what that was. Squirrel is excited to have me home, Zelda. Unfortunately, Squirrel can really be a handful when she's excited. You can't see her right now, but the ring light that I have that's lighting me up, her face is sticking through the middle of it. And it happens to be a ring light that is precariously balanced. It's not actually even really set up right. So she has the potential to knock down this entire deal. Anik Alexander, nice to see you. Long time no see. Squirrel is very squirrely. Yeah, right? I mean, kind of her defining characteristic. Actually, I wish it was. Her defining characteristic is the fact that she does not shut up ever. I'm not kidding. You've never heard a cat try to communicate with human beings more than my cat does. It's already afternoon in South Africa. I am from India. Well, we're glad that you're here, my friend. I hope things are good in India and that you are safe. But we're happy you're here. Yeah, sorry. I know dead air. Do you know there are people for whom that dead air thing? Yes, yesterday there were several times that I wasn't saying anything while I was filming, and you could see the people around me grimacing like there's really something to the people really hate that. Creators more than anything. It's 4 a.m. in Greece. Welcome, Greece. Good to have you. Boy, it's a lot of got a lot of different places on planet Earth represented this morning. Amazing. It's always humbling, isn't it? You get people from all over the earth. At the protest yesterday was somebody that drove down from Canada for that protest, and yeah, it means that I'm paying attention to you. I'm glad. I'm not sure what means that, because the disconnect between that 30 seconds, my brain, people, if I can keep 30 seconds in my brain, I'm really doing something nice. You're singing a song in Hindi. I like it. I I wish I could hear it, but yeah, when I was trying to read it, you probably saw me doing this one. Yeah, it was definitely not something I was going to be able to read aloud. It is beautiful, Cheryl. I absolutely agree with you. No one hates dead air more than Aaron. You know what? Sometimes, honestly, I just kind of want to do it to him. I know that that's terrible, but I told somebody that yesterday. I said, when I get on with Aaron, I want to just go. If you ask me a question, just give it that 4 or 5 seconds, like you're really thinking about it, because it would drive him completely nuts. Yeah, I cut it off. It never gets to a full 30 seconds. Thank you, Maria. That is a really kind thing to say. Um, I mean it. That's a very kind thing to say. The my I'm there are times that I struggle with my past. I know all addicts do this. This is not unique to people that have been to prison, but um, when you start to look at things that you've done in the past and you start to struggle with those decisions, everybody who's an addict does that, because the decisions that we make while in active addiction are things that are going to affect us for the rest of our life, and things that we're going to come to terms with. Right? It's not an easy thing to come to terms with the fact that you wasted a lot of your life. Doesn't matter how you wasted a lot of your life. Coming to grips with that is really hard. So I got sober at 46 years of age, and came to the realization that since the age of 13, I had not spent probably 365 sober days in all of that time. So you go back and you start talking about EQ versus IQ, emotional quotient as opposed to intelligent quotient. And it's your ability to navigate life, your ability to get through the day-to-day stuff that we all have to get through just to be human, and cope with the emotions that come with that. And for the vast majority of us, especially here, didn't work out. Right? We don't have the ability to regulate that the way we should. I'm not going to call anybody normal. If I had time to do a thumbnail this morning, thank you, Tammy. If I had a time to do a thumbnail this morning, I was the thing I was screwing around with was the idea of everybody, right? Everybody needs help. Everybody here is sick. Everybody is. And if you don't think you are, I promise you are. I promise you are. We are all struggling through our own baggage from how we got here. And for some people, that's going to be booze. And for some people, it's going to be Coke. And for some people, it's going to be who cares. Right? It's all, squirrel's going to knock something over. It's all the exact same thing, one way or the other. Sorry. There are things I'd rather she doesn't knock off. Oh my God, borderline. No, you don't. I've got people that could tell you that that probably wouldn't have made you so happy. I promise. I promise. There are people that would tell you that that probably wasn't such a great thing. Sorry. Yeah, and honestly, I know that growing up in Scientology has reached out yesterday. Aaron reached out to me, and we had talked about doing some stuff today or tomorrow with his channel. It will not be done at the 5 o'clock at night. It would be done during the times between the two fives. Um, the fives will be lifeboat business, right? And lifeboat business is the business of healing and recovery. Um, the protest yesterday, that's a very targeted thing. It's not. It certainly deals with recovery, and it certainly deals with all of that. However, it's a protest. I'm not spending an hour talking about recovery, and for that reason, it's not something that I would have wanted to do at the fives if it was convenient enough to do, right? Or if I could have filmed it and done it. But living in the truth is difficult, says Seventh, and there's a lot of truth to that. However, I like this too. I know Seventh, but we have to go on, if you know what I mean. And you know what, people, there is if you've ever heard of dialectic behavioral training, DBT, it is very often. Uh, Hold on one second. I agree, Captain Tommy. The only time we think we are not sick is when we are on a high. Yeah, this is something too that a lot of I've discussed this with so many people over the years, and you hear this phrase again and again and again in recovery. You'll hear people say, "No one knew I was addicted until they saw me sober." Right? No one knew I had a drinking problem until they saw me when I was not drinking. Right? And that is yeah, that's something that comes up again and again and again. So dialectic behavioral training. When I got the diagnosis about my cerebral infarction, I've talked about this on the boat a lot. I didn't get the best bedside manner because the people who become the doctors in federal prisons, they didn't do that because they loved the idea of working in a federal prison. They did something wrong somewhere. And you can speculate on the kind of things that they do wrong that can end up in a place like that. But for the most part, they're not tremendous in terms of bedside manner or caring about any of the people that they have to deal with. You're an annoyance, and that's at best how you're going to be treated. Um, but while I was incarcerated and I got this terrible diagnosis, I did get a psychiatrist who the psychiatrists tend to go into prisons because they're fascinated by what makes people do the things that they do. And I actually dealt with some people in psychology and psychiatry inside that were fantastic. It was the medical doctors that I struggled with. But when we started talking about dialectic behavioral training, the concept as it was explained to me at the time, because I was struggling, I think, trying to put this together, is the guy said, I want you to think of the ampersand, the cool looking figure eight number that says and, the and symbol. Uh, the so this woman that I was working with, my counselor said, it's the and symbol, right? I have a big dead spot on my brain that may cause me to forget some things in the next little bit. And, right, I'm going to get up and live my life. I'm going to get up and I'm going to face the day, and I'm going to do it with a smile on my face, right? And there was a great deal of time for me where all I could focus on sort of was that and I'm going to go do this. I'm in federal prison, right? I'm in the worst of situations that you can possibly be in. And I'm going to get up today and I'm not going to do dope. Or I'm in federal prison and I just got a terrible diagnosis on my brain and I'm not going to get up and do dope. And dialectical behavioral training is something that It gets used a lot over here in the U.S. for people who are in hospice or people who have end of life diagnosis, because it is one of those things that, yeah, if you do wake up one morning and you have a brain tumor, you still have to get up the following day, right? The kitty litter still needs to be cleaned. The pool still needs to be vacuumed, right? All of these things are still part of your life, no matter what, the bad news is. Right, we have to continue to go on and do what we do, and very often DBT is one of the things that they use specifically in those situations to really, really benefit people. Well, Candy's life, I'm glad to be back. I really am. When I rolled in at 1 o'clock, I didn't want to set an alarm for 4 something and get up and do this. I didn't, but this is the lifeboat, and it's what we do. And it was time to get back to work. Come here. Do you know what's funny is the other squirrel, the stunt squirrel, was on the ground on the floor. I think she may have been giving it the business. She attacks this thing, which is just awesome. And it's funny because she doesn't attack any other stuffed toy that I've ever had for her. The only one she seems to really have problems with is this little squirrel. I think she knows it's the stunt double. She's been a real pain in the can since I got home last night. I don't think she was particularly happy that I left. It's I think it's essential. If you don't want dead air, you got to have a little something that you can do like that. It helps with the dead air. But Tammy, I do too. Squirrel is one of the all-time great animals. And the number of people, when I go out to events, the number of people who ask me about my cat is astounding. I think squirrel is easily as popular as I am, if not much more. But and to everybody that I saw at the event yesterday that said, tell everybody on the boat hello or give them a shout out or whatever. The hello and thank you to all of those that came out yesterday, and for the kind words, and for fighting for a group of people that deserve to have more people fight for them. Every single day in Los Angeles, thousands and thousands and thousands of people are going to drive by that celebrity center, right, on 4 different streets. And I would say the vast majority of them at this point realize what's going on, right? And it's just you're gonna watch. There's going to be a huge campaign. It's already starting right now, because this is what this particular cult does so well. Is they're screaming right now and trying to bring in every other religion in the world with them. If you're gonna talk about us like this, then you're obviously attacking Judaism and Catholicism and Christianity, and they're doing everything within their power to frame this about freedom of religion, about freedom of speech, and about all of that. And the truth of the matter is, it's got nothing to do with that. It's about destroying families. It's about lying. It's about hiring private investigators and things like that to go and trash people's lives. That's really what it's about. But you know what? The number of people that drove by yesterday with their hand on the horn, right, rolling down the window and screaming, "I'm with you guys." And what was amazing was we watched a car go around the corner. This woman drove really slow and just sort of stared at everybody. And I remember taking her in because most people move pretty quickly. This woman was really deliberate in how she was driving, and you get halfway paranoid anyway when you're at one of these. So you're looking over your shoulder and you're sort of hyper vigilant. But this woman took off, and I even mentioned to somebody I was with that said, "Hey, that woman was moving a little slow, wasn't she?" When she came back through, she had 4 cases of water that she had bought for the protesters and just wanted to drop off. And that kind of thing. There was a lot of that was going on yesterday. Support from people who maybe can't be out there walking with us, but wanted to make sure that they were supporting the cause or that their voice was heard in one way or another. And I thought that was pretty good stuff. Tammy C. I did not know that you had been caught in a Pentecostal nightmare. Do me a favor, if you want, shoot me an email and tell me a little bit about that. I would be interested to hear a little bit about that story, if at all possible. I think that would be great, if you don't mind. Well, everybody, I have about 3 hours of sleep under my belt, and I've driven quite a bit alone in the last 3 or 4 days. So I'm going to call this a day. My culty sister nearly died of a large brain tumor because the cult did not let her see a doctor. You hear this a lot. And in Scientology specifically, the number of individuals who die of cancer is terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And it's because they don't believe in medicine. And worse than anything, they really don't believe in psychology or psychiatry. Oh, that's such a cool thing to say, Harrington. And I will pass that on to my brother as well. I'll be having breakfast with you, Johnny, here shortly, if all goes well. So I will tell him that you said that. That's awesome. Okay. And on that note, people, that is 1 hour and 2 minutes of Lifeboat. Guess who's back in the, I was going to say back in the saddle, but that's some mixed metaphors right there, isn't it? Look who's back in the captain's chair. Thank you, Harrington. It's a kind thing to say. It really is. Charlie Murphy. You know what, Charlie? I was talking about you last night on the way home. I was in a phone conversation and I was talking about the lifeboat. And your name came up, Charlie Murphy. If you're brand new on the lifeboat, Charlie was the first person that ever hit the subscribe button on YouTube for me. You'll hear me talk about Marlon Van Boekel, who's a gentleman from the Netherlands. He was the first person that signed up for who knew what the lifeboat was going to be. Like I met him in a chat room the day before we went live, and told him what we were doing on the lifeboat because he popped into a chat and said, "I need help. I can't get sober." And I was like, "Dude, I got a channel and this is all we're going to be talking about." And he had subscribed, but the first person to ever actually hit subscribe was Charlie. And you talk about, yeah, your ears were burning. You talk about just somebody that has been someone that has really just come in my mind to be and epitomize the lifeboat. Thank you so much. So I'm so glad I'm in this boat with you guys. And I know I'm not alone. Tommy, you have made an amazing community. I'm a part of one, to be sure. This is an amazing community. Thank you. It really is. I feel like I happened upon it as much as you did. I don't feel like I built it, but thank you. And it is a great, great place. Deeming, that absolutely can be done. It's a topic that I've talked about a bunch over in the past on live streams, but I will do another one. It's been a while since I have. Facing social situations is a great topic. I might even nail that out tonight. It's really an important topic, and it's one that that comes up constantly. All right, everybody, that's a minute. That's an hour and 5 minutes. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, the real squirrel. I don't know where the real squirrel is. She's been hell on wheels since I got home. Apparently they're feeding her because she is not here. All right, everyone. I'm Captain Tommy. The cat is not in the basket. And I got to go to church. I will see you guys on the other side. And you know the drill. 3 o'clock on the other platform. And I will see you all tonight at 5. I'm Captain Tommy. Be good.